Welcome, everybody, to Onyx Path. I am Marchosius, otherwise known as Mark, from Gehenna Gaming. And today, we have a very, very exciting one-shot that we're going to be running for you. We're going to be playing Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition, but we're doing it to raise money for a very important and special cause. We're raising money for RAINN, the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network. If you are not already aware, all week, both Gehenna Gaming and Onyx Path Publishing has been raising money for this cause. So there is going to be a link, which I'm putting in right now as we speak, in the, hopefully this works.
I'm excited.
Let's see if this works. In the chat. And I don't think that worked. Ah, there we go.
There it is.
Aha.
Yeah.
Perfect. So we are going to be raising money for RAINN, the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, which raises money to help support victims of abuse, to help bring perpetrators of abuse to justice. They work with the Department of Defense, and they also have a rape and abuse hotline, which has, in my opinion, saved the lives of thousands and thousands of people. But more importantly, you're all here to watch us play a game. Before we start, let's do a little round robin. Very quickly, who are you and where do you come from? We'll talk about your characters in a moment, but let's talk about the players for now.
Sure. Well, I'll just go first. Hey, I'm Mike. I do a podcast called Darker Days Radio. It's been going on for like 10 years now or something like that, 11 years maybe. It's been around for a long time, and really excited to play some Vampire with some very fine folks.
Great. I'm Brian. I actually run our Monday Night Monster Hearts game over on the Gehenna Gaming Twitch channel. Super exciting. I also do some game design. So if you can figure out how to spell my name, you can look me up on things like DriveThruRPG, because I'm Brian LeBurge. I'll write it in the chat at one point, I guess. So yeah, I do some game design. I run games on demand at PAX East and PAX Unplugged, so you might know my face.
Hi everybody, I'm Andrea from Italy, and I'm a student of communication, and I play Vampire in Camarilla Italia, a national Italian association, and I'm really happy to be here with you.
Well, it's great to have everybody together. I'm super happy to play this game with y'all. I am used to, and we're all used to, playing this game at a table, but over the past 5 months, we've all been stuck inside. So between the two virtual conventions that we took part in with Onyx Path Publishing and, of course, Virtual HorrorCon, this is kind of the new normal. So it fits on like a nice glove. I, of course, am going to be your storyteller for tonight. I am Marchosius. You can find me on Twitter at Marchosius with 5s instead of S's. I put a link in the chat if you want to find me there. Send me hate mail or anything else.
Yeah, hate mail.
Hate mail. I love hate mail. So let's get started, shall we?
Yeah.
Night is going to fall in a very special city, a very small city. Life in the city at night is all about carving a place for yourself by any means necessary. For some, that means making big moves, and for others, it means just trying to do what they can and be willing enough to be a pawn in somebody else's game. Tonight, we're joined by a few kindred who are just trying to make something of themselves in the small city of New Haven, Connecticut. New Haven can be described as a monolithic Camarilla diamond in the Anarch Rough. Most populated cities around are loosely associated baronies. The Anarch footprint is much larger than the Camarilla. The Ivory Tower has held New Haven and focuses on keeping the city secure rather than expanding out into some of the other sister cities around Connecticut. The Yale campus buildings are peppered throughout the city, along with large churches. Gothic, French Revival, and Baroque building styles can be found in almost any side street. Low-income, heavily dilapidated neighborhoods are just a few blocks down from luxury shops and Ivy League clubhouses. The lines between the haves and the have-nots are pretty clearly defined by the quality of architecture and the presence of local authorities. Each one of you has received a very ornate invitation to a private meeting thrown by the prince of the city, located at Dwight Hall, one of the most center parts of New Haven, Connecticut. Now, before we get together, I want to know a little bit about where each one of your characters are coming from. Andrea, who are you, and what would your character be doing before leaving?
I suppose that my character maybe came from Italy, and it's called by the prince to do something in New Haven. So maybe it's a local Nosferatu in Verona who can do something important in the city, and it's noticed by Camarilla. Maybe crash down an anarch revolt near Verona, and this maybe can have a good view of him in Camarilla. And so when the Camarilla has this difficult moment in New Haven, call him to help.
Well, it's no secret. You know, Connecticut used to be completely taken over by the Sabbat and then won over by Camarilla. But recently, in past nights, the Anarch Menace has kind of taken over. And the Camarilla is doing anything that they can to, at the very least, secure their very delicate power structures. So, you know, reaching out to those overseas, kind of widening that network and power is extremely important.
Yeah.
And your character's name is Aurelio.
Yes, Aurelio.
So, what about you, Brian? Whose skin will you be wearing today?
Oh, wait! Whoa! What does that mean? You just scared. I had an idea, but now you've scared me. Do I get to wear more than one people's skin? Is that a phrase?
Well, I think that's the phrase when you're talking about diving into the life of a player character.
Oh my gosh!
Who is a monster at night that survives on drinking blood.
No,
I think it's only appropriate.
Okay, I just thought for a second I didn't understand something about my character, and I wore skin suits. And
that would be a hell of a reveal this early in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, cool. I'm sorry, I probably just let everyone watching the game down. But maybe we'll work on that for later. Okay?
The game is young. The game is young. If that's something that you want for your character, you let me know.
Okay, we'll think about it. We're gonna put a pin in that thought.
Okay.
I'm playing Benjamin Grant. I am the CEO of a startup. It's an app, actually, called Drive Blood, where we're connecting people's medical files to the cloud so that if you're a blood donor, we know your type. And we've got location tracking on. We know where you are in the city, just in case there's an accident and an emergency and we suddenly need a specific blood type. There's nothing nefarious about it. It is completely on the up and up and for the good of all humanity. And then I also am very, very interested in trying to earn more status in kindred society, on where I am, and where I can be.
Well, you're doing both kind and kindred a service.
Oh, absolutely.
And it being such a valuable app. I'm sure you make your money's worth.
We're doing okay. Yeah, we're doing all right.
Now, Mike.
Who are we today? I am going to be playing as Ronnie. She is a Banu Hakim treasure hunter, actually. New Haven was once a flourishing port city, which has fallen on tough times. as shipments have gone to other larger cities and deeper ports. However, she still has many contacts here in this city and then over in the old world, perhaps into the Middle East, where she can find and procure artifacts that the local Camarilla finds very desirable.
Yeah, and this city has a deep and lush history, but much like other cities in this area, not doing too well. However, it's a good way to kind of hide any assets that might come your way. So you all have received an invitation. It's a very kind of ornate, really expensive looking greeting card. Maybe something with an interesting watermark. The symbol of the Ventru, kind of placed in the corner, requesting your presence to Dwight Hall. How are each of you getting there?
Well, I can tell you how I'm getting there. I'm getting there in my silver Lexus GS, because that's how Benjamin Grant gets places.
Does Benjamin drive, or does he have a driver?
Oh, I don't believe Benjamin is doing driver well yet. But he's got plans. He's got plans. But for now, he's driving himself.
Give it time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get there.
Yeah.
Drive Blood will go global one day.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Ronnie, how are you getting there?
So Ronnie sort of just appears. There was no car, no bus fare. Really, she just steps out of the shadows, and somehow she's there.
Mysterious as always, that Banu Hakim. Aurelio, what about yourself?
I think that Aurelio came from Italy by ship, the most safe way to travel in the ocean, and then, well, it's just appear also him in the middle of the scene.
I imagine that the prince would probably have had a car waiting for you.
Yeah.
To pick you up.
If there is the car, I of course take the car, and I take a gift from Italy to the prince with me.
It's very nice of you. I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
In honor to the tradition.
As you all arrive, you see this neighborhood. It's kind of a mix of Gothic and colonial architecture. Dwight Hall itself is kind of this really big brownstone-style cathedral, flanked by two really large elm trees. New Haven is called Elm City because there used to be a lot of elm trees throughout the city. These days, they're all cut down. These are one of the few elm trees that are still standing. There's a really large statue of an important-looking man sitting in a chair at the entrance, and police are parked in the street to stop any pedestrians or students that are kind of wandering too close to the building. Clearly, there's an event going on here. New Haven is really no stranger to this kind of event. They're, invitation only. You kind of walk by, you see something important happening, see important people walking into the door, and go, oh, okay, it's probably another fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
There is a gaggle of gutter punks on the other side of the street, kind of heckling the cops and smoking cigarettes and talking crap. They're receiving these really suspicious glares by the police officers. And there's a really intimidating woman that stands at the entrance with a serious look on her face. She's wearing a kind of toned down suit. She looks like she could be private security of some type. She's got something hanging from her ear.
Mm-hmm.
And you were all standing in front of Dwight Hall.
Yeah, I have two quick questions. First off, do the three of us know each other? Have we worked together in the past or anything like that? Is that something we've established for the story?
Well, I think that given the context of your characters, it would make sense that Aurelio is probably a newcomer to the city, and perhaps Ben and Ronnie might have seen each other at Elysium, but don't really know each other too well.
Okay.
Maybe recognize who each other is.
Makes sense. So I will definitely not nod or say anything to Ben, simply just to keep up the air of mystery about us and not reveal that we know each other. And my second question is that did the letter, the invitation, instruct us to meet anyone, or is there a standard procedure here in New Haven for whom we go to when we're arriving at this sort of an audience with the prince?
The prince kind of has a flair for the dramatic. The city has a culture of secret societies and invitation-only parties. So really, the invitation that you see has a time, an address, and a symbol, and that's it. So you haven't been received by the prince in this particular place before, but you have received similar invitations from other people. A lot of people like to kind of do this thing in New Haven where they, there's pop-up shops that happen all the time. There's one-night only dance clubs that'll open in a warehouse that's, abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
That'll operate for a few hours before the cops shut it down. So this is pretty standard procedure to kind of present yourself. You're presenting yourself in front of the prince. You know that it's important, but that's all you know.
And there are other people going in? Like it looks like an event from the outside?
So there are decorative lights, and there's there's no velvet carpet or anything, but there are kind of lights hanging or on the two elm trees to kind of signify that there is an event going on, but you don't see anybody walking in now.
Okay.
Just simply the important-looking woman on the front and the two police officers standing by their cruisers.
Just a quick question. Can we hear what they are saying? What they are talking to the woman?
They're not talking. They're not talking to the woman at all. The woman is very silent and stern. Cops are probably about a yard or two away from the officers, and the officers are really just kind of just talking shit about the gutter punks that are on the other side of the street.
Sure.
Cool.
If you want to listen into their conversation, you could roll wits and awareness.
I'm good.
I'm good as well, but I feel Aurelio might be curious enough.
Yeah, I'm just curious to understand if the woman is one of us or only a mortal.
Sure.
You wouldn't know that. Whether she is mortal or not. She could be a ghoul.
Yeah.
She's jacked. Really tall. She is very pretty, but very serious.
Maybe I can approach her and say something. Everything is fine. Do you need some help?
Are you on the list?
Yes, I think so.
What is your name?
Aurelio.
I don't see you.
I have this particular invitation, and I show her the invitation that I received.
She takes the invitation from you and gives it a really quick glance and puts it in her inside coat pocket and kind of steps aside away from the door. Right this way, please.
Okay, thank you. I follow her.
She actually opens the door and lets you walk
Okay.
in.
I walk in. I just walk in and I want to thank her for the hospitality.
Yes, thank you.
So I enter.
You can go now.
I walk in.
As you walk in, there is a really long, like brown velvet carpet. There's a lot of kind of dark woods and kind of oak furniture. Really big Gothic style
Okay.
lamps that would be, containing some kind of flame. But as you look closely, you can see there's just kind of little LEDs that are kind of looking like they're actually flame, but they're just kind of battery operated. It really reflects this city. It's kind of this really well polished outside. If you're looking from fairly far away, it looks very expensive, but as you get a closer look, it's kind of cheap. But the building itself is extremely old.
Okay.
And it looks like a church.
Okay.
What about you, Ronnie? What are you doing?
I think Ronnie's generally just confused. The prince always does this, gives these vague instructions, but doesn't really explain what you're supposed to do to meet the contact, and get the job done. So perhaps after a little while, she notices that several people are entering into this building, handing over invitations or something like that, and figures that she might as well attempt to do the same.
Yeah, are you on the list?
I sure hope I am. I received an invitation.
That remains to be seen. What's your name?
Ronnie.
You're not on the list.
Well, that's very strange. I got this invitation right here.
Ah, yes. Excuse me. It looks like you are on the list. She takes your invitation and puts it in her breast coat pocket, shifts over and opens the door for you. You can get out of my sight now.
Yeah, whatever. And Ronnie enters the building.
She kind of looks over at the police like, Ben, what are you doing?
So I think having, even if I'm not listening, having seen a little bit of what's going on, I'm just gonna walk up and pull out the invitation and offer it to her without saying anything.
She looks at you and gives you kind of a respectful nod, takes the invitation, gives it a really close look, puts it in her coat pocket.
Great. And I'll just walk by.
She stops you for a moment.
Oh.
Yes. No. He's here. Of course, my prince. You can go.
And then I will walk by.
So you're all kind of congregating into this long hallway, and you're expecting to see what you would see at most, Elysium gatherings. Ghouls walking around with plates with maybe shot glasses of vitae. You don't see that. You don't see fancy dressed kindred toreador. You don't see strange acting Malkavians. You really don't see anybody at all except for one person who is standing very sternly next to a very dramatic throne-looking chair on the altar. He's got a military uniform, highly decorated, just from the nearest to the top of his shoulder all the way down halfway through his torso is just metal after metal after metal.
Is it like a standard American uniform?
Yes, yeah. It's he looks like he would probably work at, very similar to like a general in the Pentagon.
Mm-hmm.
Can we understand something of his age from something medal that he's wearing?
Yeah, there's a few clan symbols that you see kind of peppered in with some of the other medals. He looks to be about 65 years old and bald, completely covered in liver spots. He's got a couple of sores on the sides of his cheeks, which he every so often will take a kind of a napkin out of his pocket, kind of wipe off whatever is dripping, so that it doesn't touch his very clean pressed uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And his eyes are completely black.
Seems like a weird dude. I believe Ronnie has been in the city for a while. Is this the prince? Does she recognize this as the prince or someone else in power?
No, this is definitely not the prince. This is Kurt Dench. He is a kind of a military leader and information gatherer for the prince. He's a member of the court, and he is the Nosferatu Primogen.
Okay.
Okay. Peculiar.
Aurelius.
Yes.
Well, come on, boy. Walk forward. Hop, Stewart.
I just follow your instruction.
You will follow my instruction and stand right here at attention. You're in my city. I expect you to behave yourself of a Nosferatu of good standing. Do you understand me?
Perfectly.
Now, who are your friends?
I don't know who are they.
Well, it looks like it's time for an introduction now, isn't it?
Yes.
You, the one in the corner there who made that comment when you walked in. Don't think I didn't hear you. He looks right at Ronnie. He's pointing right at her.
Hey, Kurt. Haven't seen you since last Elysium. Or maybe it was 3 Elysiums ago. I can't keep track of them all.
Well, you barely go to the ones that I go to. I can assure you that.
Oh,
Ronnie.
Sorry, not all of us are dressed up like Leonid Brezhnev.
You're lucky I'm here on a mission. You're lucky that I'm patient with you today. And you are lucky that I'm in a good mood.
All right.
I would watch that mouth.
Yeah, sure thing. Sure thing, Kurt. You know, when there's a job to be done, I'll get it done, all right?
Let's hope so. Ben?
And Ben steps forward, audibly sighing at Ronnie, as Ben knows that kind of sass is just not the way to move forward in polite society. And he gives a head nod to Aurelius, and he says, Benjamin Grant, I'm either here because I know computers or because I know business.
A man who cuts to the point. I like it. Well, allow me to waste your time further. I expect you to stand here and wait. And Kurt turns around, and he walks through a door right behind the throne. and you're in this room alone by yourselves. The echoing footsteps of Kurt walking away still reverberating throughout the hall.
Well, great. I guess we'll just wait right here then. Ben, hey, it's good to see you. Any idea what's going on here?
No.
Yeah, a little. Ronnie drops her voice a little bit as she's talking to Benjamin. A little strange that he said his city. Isn't that a little bit forward, you know?
We all have aspirations, and as long as the wrong people aren't in the room, you can run your mouth. Some of us don't wait for the wrong people to be in the room to run our mouths.
Well, no one ever said I was shy. And speaking of, you right there, is Aurelio is he visibly a Nosferatu? Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes,
So
it's correct.
Ronnie just turns to Aurelio and says, "And you, my Nosferatu friends, do you have any idea what's going on here? Why we've been invited
No,
to this?"
I'm just arrived here from the old continent, and I don't know what the reason.
Fresh off the boat and brought here to this
Yes.
this gaudy throne room.
Yes. So I'm just curious as you, I suppose.
You must have some rather unique skills if you were called all the way from across the sea.
Well, I have just accomplished some mission from Cam. So.
Now, Mark, dear storyteller, Ronnie is a treasure hunter who probably knows quite a bit about antiquities, artifacts, and just old stuff in general. So she's going to take a look at this throne because we're just waiting here. Why not? Is it worth anything? Is it real? Is it legit? Is it some Hollywood prop?
So there have been many books written about this particular room and this throne. In the 1920s, there was an anthropology student who helped to raise enough money to get a very authentic French royal throne brought into this room. It was about a 10-year activity.
Whoa.
But this is not it. If you look closely, you can see that the diamonds and jewels are nothing more than plastic costume jewelry inlays. Almost like in Disney. When you look really close, everything's kind of got that plasticky feel to it. That's what this throne has. It's almost as if the wood itself is not really wood, but some kind of vinyl or particle board.
Ooh. Ronnie will chip off one of the little ruby-looking things.
Also,
clatters to the floor
immediately.
Really, Ronnie? That's.
I mean, if it's fake, people got to know.
As you're waiting, the door opens again. Oh, God. Is it him again? Oh, God, is it Kurt? You hear this very loud thumping through the hall. And a very short, well-dressed, almost teenage-looking gentleman walks in and kind of plops down onto the throne.
Do the locals recognize this person as the prince?
This is not the prince. This is Chadwick Davis. Chadwick is the prince's seneschal. You made it,
Yeah.
and you're not late.
Nope.
Kurt thought you would be late.
Yeah, Kurt's got some opinions. Kurt's got some opinions, you know? All that intelligence, but what does it really add up to, you know? And I know he's probably listening to us right now. You hear that, Kurt? You heard it.
Careful, he's probably in the room right now. What do they call it? Military intelligence? I think it's an oxymoron myself, but...
Chadwick, how's it going? Haven't seen you since, what was that, like 4 Elysiums ago? That was a while.
Yeah, that was a wild Elysium, too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Those dancers, remember those dancers?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
What's happening there? And at Elysium?
Yeah. Aurelio?
Yes, it's me.
Holy crap, you made it across the pond. How the hell are you?
Fine.
Man, in the flesh.
Yes.
Well, my prince speaks wonderfully of you. Man, you should have been at Elysium 4 Elysiums ago. There was actually we had a couple of folks from Japan on that one.
Oh.
It was a lot of fun. You should have been there. But you know, hey, listen, if you stay, which I hope you stay in my city, be at the next one. Sorry that this is kind of what you have to deal with. We just had one last night. This is something special. So I appreciate you making the long journey.
Yes. I hope to not